So something I hear people talk about sometimes is resourcefulness. And I think that, resourcefulness is a beautiful thing because it applies to you at whatever stage of life that you're at. If you're just starting out, or if you're quite successful. At any stage, like resourcefulness is sort of like a super tool or a superpower, or not a superpower, but it's kind of essential for maximizing your returns. So, one of the things that I think I wonder if we under resource, and maybe this is especially for guys that do this, but I feel like for myself, I have a lot more friends and acquaintances than what I utilize. Now, listen to me when I say utilize. I'm not talking about using in the sense of like, in the same way that network marketers are sort of taught to use their relationships, if you will. Now, I'm not saying all network marketers do this, but I'm saying that's sort of the classic network marketing, right? Is kind of like, hey, go out and like all your contacts, anybody that you kind of know, hit them up, and grab a coffee and just catch up, right? And then it's like, here comes the pitch, right? So I don't mean use in that sense. I mean that the benefits, the joys, the advantages, all the things from enjoying friendships, I think that at least way underutilized, right? So like people that I could be better friends with, or that I could stay more caught up with, that I could keep in touch with, that I can interact with more frequently. Like I think I way underutilize my network in terms of friendship value, and I'm kind of left to my own devices. I kind of default to sort of being a loner to some extent. Now I like being around people, so it's not that I want to be by myself all the time. Quite the opposite, actually. But without exercising some intentionality, I tend to just kind of ignore, people that I've known for years, unless, I bump into them, right? It's like, if I'm in their proximity physically, then awesome, we talk, right? But if not, I tend to just kind of let it be, right? And it seems like I do think that in the general scope of, like, let's say if you're growing a company, that on the whole having a good healthy relationships, or broader spectrum of relationships, I think is good, because you do get like resources if you're hiring. Maybe someone has a recommendation, or you get an idea for a business, or some help on a certain problem. Like there's lots of benefits, I think, from a business standpoint, and getting new customers too. Like if you're regularly interacting with people, like that is a value for getting customers. But not just that. It's also I think they've talked about one of the biggest predictors of, now I forget whether it was happiness or whether it was longevity, but for one of those, kind of key measures of well-being, I think they rated like how many people casually in your community, or how many people that you would like casually bump into, had a major impact on people's well-being. So like, let's say everybody that has the shops in downtown, and you're kind of regularly, you're down there, you see them, you say hello, you chit-chat a little bit. Like it could be very surface even, but that's still actually, I think, amazingly important. That sense of like, I don't know, is it the sense of kind of the place, of like, I belong here? Is it, I don't know exactly what all plays into that, but it's something that I'm thinking about recently, and expanding my business is what got me thinking about this. But so I think that there are a lot of business usefulness to our relationships, but beyond that, like I don't ever want to be that guy that when you see a message from me, you're like, oh boy, what's the latest network marketing scheme? that he's now a part of and he's trying to hit me up for? Or what does he want from me, right? Like, I think there's a way, and I hope there's a way, to intentionally cultivate friendships. Yes, you have a business objective, or you have your own personal well-being as an objective, or whatever. You have motives, right? But you use those to help you be intentional to cultivate relationships. And what's the best way to cultivate relationships? Well, it's to input into those relationships, right? It's to be a giver. And so that's what I aspire to be, is the kind of person that when you see a message from me in your inbox or your DMs, that you're like, oh, cool. I look forward to connecting with Craig. I wonder what I'm going to get from him this time, rather than I wonder what he's going to take from me this time, right? So that's, I guess, what I would aspire to. And I found it, surprisingly challenging to kind of break out of my loner lifestyle, loner silo, and make a point of connecting and reconnecting with people. Some people are so natural at this, right? And I think I find awkward little excuses for why this would be awkward. And, so I feel like I've still got a long ways to go on it. But I idealize being someone who's well connected, right? Who people in my life, past and present, they feel that I care about them. They feel like we've communicated recently. We have an open line of communication. And that if they needed something that I could help them with, be it in business, be it spiritually, whatever it would be, that they would feel free and open to contact me too. So developing, maybe the best way to think about it is relational capital, right? This goes back to the whole resourcefulness thing at the beginning. I think most of us have a lot of friendships, relationships that we could tap into. That could be resources, in the context, right, of being a giver, but that could be resources for us that we underutilize. And I think so that's one area of resourcefulness that I'm trying to work on. And I'd say what I want to get out of it is I want to be less lonely. I want to be more connected to people and experience that well-being from that. And then also, hopefully, there will be, a few people who, because they're connecting with me, they'll remember to refer a friend to me for business or contact me about having me help in business too. So I do want more business, and that's a reason for being more intentional in a relationship. But I suspect that the benefits to my emotional well-being may actually surpass the business benefits of reconnecting, connecting, staying, and being more of a relational person. And so selfishly, right, those are the things that I want. But I do, like I say, hope that if I contact someone, their thought is, yay, not, what's this? So that's what we're shooting for. What's your experience? How do you do well at connecting with people who are not in your physical proximity? Do you do a good job staying in touch with old friends? And how do you do with that?